Oh, there is. Well, my name's Mark. Some of you know me as Mark the Poet on the forums, or as a natural born poet if you're unfortunate enough to own one of my books. If you don't, you're not missing out, honestly. I'm 24, I'm from the ever sunny London. Ever since I was a little boy, music has played the biggest part in my life. I've immersed myself in music ever since I can remember. And not once looking back do I ever recall a time when music wasn't my one and only love. I grew up in a house where music was being played night and day. It didn't do much for relationships with our neighbours, funny enough. But it did allow me to find a place deep inside me where I felt safe and happy without ever having to worry about the outside world. My dad being a massive Beatles fan, and so from a young age I knew all the words to every song they ever wrote, as well as all their solo work, which made me rather unpopular at school, the geek who lived in the past. My mum has always also been a massive Elvis fan, so when I wasn't hearing the Fab Four blast out in the CD, I was hearing Elvis Presley. I used to regard the 6-foot cardboard cutout at the bottom of my mum and dad's bed as a rather good friend of mine. always allowed me to chat regardless of what I wanted to say. I was very lucky because music has always been my dad's biggest passion, and on a regular basis I would raid his CD stand for new bands, new CDs to listen to. I discovered so many artists who have become major inspirations to me throughout the years, people like Gilbert O'Sullivan, ELO, the Mamas and Papas, Slade. Then when I was about 11 I came across a CD on the stand that I hadn't played before, one that I'd never seen. It was a white CD with a great looking man on the front cover with corkscrew hair and a golden jacket. Marc Bolan and T-Rex leapt out of the front cover. Of course I instantly inquired to my dad, who is Marc Bolan? You know who Marc Bolan is, he replied, and he sung some of the lines of Mark's famous songs. I couldn't believe just how many of them I knew already. I did nothing more than race up the stairs and blast out all 24 tracks on the CD at full power, and from that moment I was hooked. I bought every CD I could find out of my pocket money, cut out clippings in music magazines, and generally became obsessed with Mark and his music. He'd spoken to me through his songs, and I felt so safe and comfortable whenever I submerged myself in his songs. Then one day when I was 18 I discovered the Marc Bolan fan club. We hadn't had a computer for that long at that time, and I didn't dream that after all these years so many people would still gather together to share stories and sing and dance and just have fun in the memory of Mark and his music. I came over the first time when I was 18. I was unbelievably nervous. I've always been a very shy person. You won't believe that. I was never a big drinker either at that time. And I never had many friends at school or at college. I was a very reserved person. I was so worried that I'd feel out of place and stand in the corner like I'd done so many times before, and yet the other half of me was filled with great pride and excitement. Wearing a Marc Bolan t-shirt and getting on that train to Golders Green was the best decision I ever made. I know a crematorium shouldn't feel like a home, but I felt like I'd finally arrived somewhere. I felt wanted, loved and respected. People made a fuss of me, asked me questions, talked to me and made me feel like a part of a big family. It was the greatest day of my life. I met so many wonderful people, and I knew from that moment on that not only had Mark changed my life with his music, but he'd also given me a social outlet that I'd never had before. And for that I'll always be grateful. I met my best friend Bobby Conway, who I was best man for earlier this year, through the Marc Bolan fan club. I'd never have met him had it not been for Mark. I look around today with the biggest warmth inside of me, knowing that I've found a home. I've made so many friends who I hope will be around for the rest of my life. And I feel so proud to travel up and down the country wearing my Marc Bolan shirt with pride, keeping his name alive forever. Rest in peace, Mark, forever knowing that your music has left a massive, massive mark in all of our hearts for always. And also a massive thank you to Mark's mum and dad, who brought a young man named Mark Field into the world, and had they never done so, he wouldn't have grown up to give us Marc Bolan. Thank you.